Thank you for joining us for CBN NewsWatch. I'm Ephraim Graham. Ahead today, Israel and the United States rejecting an Arab plan for rebuilding Gaza, which would have the Palestinian Authority taking control of the area. That development coming as we're learning disturbing new details about a hostage still in captivity. President Donald Trump proclaiming his administration's achievements in his first speech to a joint session of Congress in his second term on everything from immigration to transgender issues. Making America's skies safer, both Congress and the White House working to improve the U.S. air traffic control system after a deadly accident. And our special Studio 5 look at the new streaming series based on one of the most famous characters in the Bible. It is called The House of David. All those stories and more right now on CBN NewsWatch.
This is CBN NewsWatch.
We begin this Wednesday with the situation in Israel and Gaza as the United States and Israel have rejected a new proposal from Arab leaders for the reconstruction of Gaza. It calls for Hamas to turn power over to the Palestinian Authority, but the U.S. is sticking with the president's plan for rebuilding Gaza. Chuck Holton brings us the story. He's reporting from Jerusalem.
In the Middle East, we're bringing back our hostages from Gaza.
In his address to Congress Tuesday night, President Donald Trump claimed success in Gaza. Meanwhile, a new proposal from Arab leaders, backed by Egypt, calls for the reconstruction of Gaza under an international trust fund, with the Palestinian Authority taking control, a plan that Israel rejects.
We don't have an agreement on phase 2. We demand total demilitarization of Gaza Strip, Hamas and Islamic Jihad out, and give us our hostages. If they agree to that, we can implement tomorrow. We will only have to discuss the ratio for the terrorists that want to get out from our jails.
Gaza residents remain skeptical of any promises made by the region's Arab leaders. Many say they've waited for years for action and that words alone won't bring relief.
We do not rely on the Arab countries at all. For a year and a half, we have been suffering from a siege and the closure of crossings, and no Arab country has moved. We do not want decisions and words, and that's it. We want decisions that will be implemented on the ground.
While negotiations continue, Israel remains focused on securing the release of hostages still held by Hamas. A new report reveals that one hostage, Matan Angrest, is injured, being held in a dark cellar, and deprived of food.
We are ready to extend the framework of the temporary ceasefire, but we have only one condition: our hostages. We want to release hostages. If it is not agreed, it is not agreed.
As Israel rejects the new Arab proposal, the Palestinian Authority and other leaders are pressing forward, pushing for reconstruction plans and more money from international donors, including support for discredited UN programs.
We call for the adoption of the Egyptian-Palestinian and Arab plan for the reconstruction of the Gaza Strip with the presence of our people in their homeland. Its approval at this summit, the mobilization of international support for it in an international trust fund. It is also necessary to continue working to enhance the survival and support of UNRWA.
With no clear agreement in sight, hostage families desperately wait for news, and Israel prepares to return to fighting if an agreement can't be reached. From Jerusalem, I'm Chuck Holton for CBN News.
Here at home, President Donald Trump covering a wide range of topics in his first speech to a joint session of Congress. He proclaimed his administration's quick action in fulfilling key parts of his agenda. But Democrats in the audience clearly disagreed. CBN Capitol Hill correspondent Michelle London has this look at the president's address.
America is back.
A strong show of support during President Trump's opening remarks Tuesday night as he recounted his achievements since the inauguration. Moments in, the president touted historic change after winning the election with a mostly red map. His remarks triggering disruption from Democrats.
Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
President Trump continued with a long list of accomplishments, starting with the creation of DOGE, headed by Elon Musk.
Thank you, Elon. He's working very hard. The Government Accountability Office, a federal government office, has estimated annual fraud of over $500 billion in our nation and we are working very hard to stop it.
In his first 43 days, the president has signed at least 81 executive orders, ranging from requiring federal workers to return to the office, bringing back free speech by removing government censorship, making English the official language in America, and ending diversity, equity, and inclusion policies while removing critical race theory from public schools.
There are only two genders, male and female.
He also addressed transgender controversies, banning transgender athletes from playing in women's sports and criminalizing sex changes on children.
Our message to every child in America is that you are perfect exactly the way God made you.
On the topic of immigration, Trump introduced a new way successful migrants can buy a path to U.S. citizenship.
We have developed in great detail what we are calling the Gold Card, which goes on sale very, very soon for $5 million.
Throughout his speech, the president honored regular Americans, including the family of Laken Riley, a nursing student killed by an illegal migrant while jogging last year. One of the most emotional moments of the night went to DJ.
In 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live.
Now, 6 years in remission, the 13-year-old has always dreamed of being in law enforcement. And Tuesday night, his dream became a reality.
DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
Moments after Trump's speech, Michigan Senator Alyssa Slotkin delivered a rebuttal to Trump's address on behalf of Democrats. Just 2 months into her tenure in the Senate, she's been a vocal critic on Trump's handlings with Ukraine.
It's at risk when the president decides you can pick and choose what rules you want to follow, when he ignores court orders and the Constitution itself, or when elected leaders stand by and just let it happen.
The president, however, sees glory days ahead and promises the American people a bright future.
My fellow Americans, get ready for an incredible future, because the golden age of America has only just begun. It will be like nothing that has ever been seen before. Thank you, God bless you, and God bless America.
Michelle London, CBN News, Washington.
Coming up, both Congress and the White House working to make American skies safer by improving air traffic control, and a massive storm system hitting the United States, bringing dust storms, tornadoes, and more. We're going to have both stories for you when we come back. You're watching CBN NewsWatch. Lawmakers on Capitol Hill examining concerns over flight safety and warnings about the country's air traffic control system. The hearing Tuesday coming after January's deadly mid-air collision over the Potomac River. Congress calling on the Federal Aviation Administration to immediately address critical staffing shortages and to upgrade air traffic control systems, many of which have been in place since the 60s. CBN's Caitlin Burke has that story now, reporting from Washington.
In 2015, 16, 17, and 18, I testified in front of this committee and I said the status quo of the national airspace system is unacceptable.
75% of the 138 systems are unsustainable or potentially unsustainable.
It's not acceptable for controllers and technicians to have to work with paper strips and floppy disks.
Long considered to be aviation's gold standard, experts say America can no longer make that case, mainly due to aging infrastructure, outdated technology, and a broken hiring and training process.
The FAA has historically requested too little funding, and we now have a significant backlog of system and facility sustainment and replacement. Many FAA facilities have exceeded their expected life cycles.
Disruptions in government funding is also a major culprit. Since 2018, the FAA has experienced 3 government shutdowns combined with the threat of another 29. Nick Daniels, president of the National Air Traffic Controllers Association, explains the potential impact if the current March 14th funding deadline isn't met.
We would have a shutdown of the Oklahoma City Academy. Air traffic controllers wouldn't be paid. Programs in modernization would halt, would take months to restart. We would likely lose anywhere between 100 to upwards of 500 trainees.
In 2024, Congress passed the bipartisan FAA Reauthorization Act. It's designed to address staffing, safety, and significant modernization of air traffic control infrastructure, among other things. The issue, according to lawmakers, is that much of it hasn't been implemented.
2024 FAA Reauthorization Law took important steps toward improving safety and staffing. That law just needs to be followed.
Caitlin Burke, CBN News, Washington.
Caitlin points out industry leaders say now is the opportunity to change the system because for the first time in decades, there's universal agreement from unions to airlines to operators. The Trump administration also supports investment in not only modernizing systems, but also hiring and increasing salaries for air traffic controllers. I want to turn now to wild weather, causing havoc across the United States from blizzard conditions to deadly storms and fires in the South. Brody Carter's on the story.
A massive storm system affecting millions as it sweeps across the country. This blinding dust storm covering parts of New Mexico and Texas.
It just came and ripped through.
Multiple tornadoes hit the region. In Lewisville, Texas, winds were so strong they damaged buildings and scattered debris across the city.
Check out this rain. This is what we're seeing. Oh, holy.
Meanwhile, an EF1 tornado devastated parts of Ada, Oklahoma, destroying homes. In Mississippi, at least 2 people died as high winds brought down falling trees.
I'm not used to tornadoes or any super crazy weather like this, so it's different to see it, but it feels good to get out and be able to help and clean up and take care of trash and make the community look a little better.
As these storms move out, high winds have moved in, knocking out power for hundreds of thousands of homes and businesses across the South.
We got a house fire right here on Lamar, Mesquite, right close to downtown.
Now, critical fire conditions have led to multiple house fires, with emergency crews battling flames and evicting residents here in San Antonio.
Good old Nebraska. It was literally 60 degrees out earlier today.
And blizzard warnings are in effect in parts of 5 states, with whiteout conditions making for difficult travel. Back in the South, the system disrupted Mardi Gras festivals in New Orleans, prompting officials to reschedule events and shorten parade routes. In Alabama, high winds overnight knocked out power for 70,000 people, and the East Coast is expecting windy conditions today. These storms coming in the wake of hundreds of firings at the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration, or NOAA, where 280 people were let go recently in the Trump administration's effort to shrink the size of the federal government. There are concerns, however, that these cuts at NOAA could impact the safety of Americans and the future of weather forecasting. I'm Brody Carter, CBN News.
Still ahead, can one stone change the course of history? That's the question behind a new streaming series based on the Bible. We're taking you behind the scenes of House of David right after this. The saga of King David is one of the most epic stories in the Bible. Now, a new series about this beloved character has began streaming. It's called House of David. I traveled to Greece to bring you this exclusive preview of Prime Video's new venture into biblical storytelling.
Can one stone change the course of history?
This simple question sets the stage for the cinematic biblical series House of David, a full-scale retelling of David's rise from an overlooked shepherd boy to Israel's most celebrated king.
Why do my brothers get to fight? And I'm stuck here.
David, you are not a man of blood.
Michael Iskander leads the cast as David.
God does not see what man sees.
He sees into the heart. And you have the heart of a lion.
They're casting for this series. They have all these actors in place, but they still haven't identified their David. And they go through thousands of audition tapes and wait months and months and months. And finally, we come to you.
Why? I don't know.
How does that feel?
Scary. I mean, like, obviously, like, with an opportunity like this and to to tell this type of story. It's so special and everyone wants it. But it's scary because there's so much pressure, you know, being the one person to do this. Like, I like to think that there's plenty of people who could have done it. I'm just the lucky one.
At the time, you're on Broadway in a successful play, and you kind of have a desire to be David. Tell me, where'd that desire come from?
I wish I knew. I wish I knew. I think it goes back to the show The Chosen. Like, I watch The Chosen, and every single time I watch an episode, I cry. I see the Bible come to life. And not only that, but I see human beings in front of me. I don't see some big, grand person far away. And I've always been inspired by that, and I've wanted to be a part of it. And so I thought to myself, man, if they ever have an audition, you know, I'd love to maybe play King David in a flashback scene. Maybe. Like young King David herding the sheep or whatever. And that was a long time ago. That was 2021. And so to get the opportunity now to do that, but on a full scale, and to dive deeply into the story of David, is such a full circle moment from that initial spark.
The Philistines have assembled.
The sparks behind this epic series, John Irwin, whose film credits include Jesus Revolution and I Can Only Imagine.
It's a story of family, I think. I mean, it's a story of destiny.
And John Gunn, whose work includes The Case for Christ and I Still Believe.
I saw the print of a hand, larger than a weaver's basket.
They have a giant. What?
How do you balance telling the story that most of us think we know with biblical accuracy, but then telling a compelling story?
We feel like a great responsibility for the source material, and you want to get it right, and you want to honor it. And the way to honor it is to understand the heart of it, and then to fill in those gaps in ways that supports the truth of the heart of that. And then you get a lot of help from people to go like, no, this is great, but this is actually inaccurate.
The Bible is kind of like, you know, flying through a theme park in a jet, you know? it's a historical overview at a high altitude. So it's wonderful to, I like Ken Burns uses this phrase, emotional archaeology, which I really like. And to, first of all, love the material, learn the material, and then really think about, okay, these are real people. And if they're in chapter 3, they don't know about chapter 4. And then you read all that David was going through in the Psalms, and then you cross-reference them to the life that he was living, you know, as you read 1st and 2nd Samuel. And you know, it really comes to life.
My king, I will fight the giant.
Fight him with the same spirit you bring into this room.
Send me your javelin!
Goliath! Bringing the role of Goliath to life is bodybuilder, actor, and Mortal Kombat star Martin Ford.
How does Mortal Kombat prepare you to play Goliath?
Patience. I mean, it's quite funny you should say that, because the characters are kind of very similar with Shao Kahn and Goliath, in a sense of they are the ultimate bad guy, larger than life, and a power that's unrecognizable by humans.
When I think of Goliath in biblical terms, I don't even think of Goliath as a human per se, because we're thinking giant, massive. So what's the difference in what people are thinking versus what we're going to see?
Well, I think the power of allowing us to tell the story with a backstory allows you to see him more as what you've just suggested that you don't, as human. And if we can have that relatability to the fact that he is half human, he does have a family, he has brothers and a mother, and there's a driving force, there's a motivation for his actions.
It's not about the greatness of the giant. It is about the greatness of God.
Are you afraid?
Terrified.
What has David taught you playing him? What lesson have you?
Oh man, what hasn't he taught me? I think most of all, David has taught me courage and bravery. Because the one thing that David always does is he doesn't run from his fears, he goes right to them. And I think that's a lesson we all need, is to not run away from our fears, but to face our fears, to stand up against the giant and to say, I am here. Even though we might be scared, like, might be terrified, we still choose to stand against giants.
Again, I ask this question. Can one stone change the course of history?
And coming up, we're going to be right back with an encouraging word for your Wednesday. You're watching CBN NewsWatch.
Introducing a brand new way to start your morning. Get your daily quick start from CBN News. A quick read on the important news of the day delivered right to your inbox. Stay current on breaking news, politics, and entertainment. Discover how God is moving around the world and here at home. Plus, get exclusive stories and daily scripture encouragement just for you. Stay informed. Go to quickstart.news and subscribe today. Download the CBN News app, 24/7 news from a Christian perspective at home or on the road. One place for all of your news. Breaking news alerts. Set daily prayer goals and pray for news stories. Read the most important news and watch CBN News Channel live. CBN News, because truth matters. Go to cbnnewsapp.com to get the app today.
Time now for your Wednesday word, and today's word is process. It comes with this friendly reminder: don't give up on God's promise in the middle of the process of preparing you for it. Better is coming, but God is building you to be able to hold the better that He has for you. Again, that's called process. So hold on, you can make it. Change is indeed coming. With that word, make this a wonderful Wednesday. Well, that will do it for this edition of CBN NewsWatch. You can always find more of our news programs on the CBN News channel. You can find them there at any time as well as online. The address is cbnnews.com. Take a moment, let us know what you think about the stories you've seen here today. You can do that by emailing us. The address, newswatch@cbn.com. And of course, you can always reach out and touch us on Facebook, Instagram, and X, formerly known as Twitter. We'll see you right back here tomorrow. Bye-bye.